Well, good morning and thanks for joining us. I'm Dusty Sonnenberg with the Ohio AgNet. Joining me, Matt Reese, Ohio's Country Journal editor. Also, two special guests with the Ohio Soybean Council. We have Madison Layman and also Bill Bayliss. Guys, thanks for joining us today. Well, before we get going, we need to talk about that crazy weather phenomena that seemed to happen over the weekend. I don't know about you guys, but we had some precipitation fall out of the sky yesterday.
A true blessing.
Yeah, so we talk about $1 million rains. This might be $1 billion rain. I don't know. It's a big one. There were a lot of folks really watching for this one. Bill, what kind of rainfall totals do you see over your direction?
Yeah, I've been studying over our various fields. We are any place from an inch to an inch and a half. Beautiful, nice and soft, easy. I think every drop of it soaked right in. Couldn't ask for a nicer rain.
Yeah, that's a good one. I've been hearing anything from 0.3 up to about that almost 2-inch range in some areas. And it was a beautiful rain that fell. It started out real slow and then picked up a little bit and was really nice. What'd you get, Dusty?
Oh my goodness, I did not hear it that high. No, we had about 0.3 on our farm, and I heard as high as a 1/2 inch in Northwest Ohio. But golly, that inch and a half would be a godsend, that's for sure. No, we got enough at least to know that it still knows how to rain, and are hoping for some more later in the week.
Yeah, that was a big rain.
Madison, did it rain in Columbus?
It did. I think we got pretty much what everyone else got. It seemed like when I was watching the radar, it just kind of covered the state perfectly. So yeah, we definitely got some. And I remember sitting there thinking, wow, I'm really happy that rain came after talking with some of the farmers this week.
Well, and it looked like there were some folks to the west in Indiana that did not get that rain or didn't get much rain. And so it was, we were very, very fortunate here in Ohio to get that covering pretty much all the state, looks like.
Well, we've got some world travelers with us today, Matt, and we're going to ask Maddie and Bill to tell us a little bit about where they've just returned from.
Yeah, so I guess I'll kind of share with you guys, and I'll let Bill kind of fill in the gaps. So this last April, Bill and I, Bill, the seasoned traveler, me, kind of a new world traveler, visited Seoul, Korea, and then we went to Bangkok, Thailand. We were in partnership with the U.S. Soybean Export Council for both of these trips. There were 2 conferences held, one at each location, that Bill actually got a chance to speak at. What these 2 regions kind of have in common is that they consume a lot of food grade soybeans, and Ohio happens to be a really well-positioned state to grow those products for the customers in those regions. So getting Bill to go over there and share about his operation and U.S. soybeans in general was super beneficial to Ohio. Not only did we in Korea specifically get to see Bill talk and listen to other marketers from the U.S., but we also got to visit some soy food industry plants to kind of see the end use products of Ohio and U.S. soybeans.
Bill, how do you feel about being referred to as a seasoned traveler?
Well, it's been interesting. I've enjoyed not only traveling, although now Maddie and I rode in the back seat of the bus coming back on a 12-hour ride, and that kind of takes a little bit of the fun out of it. But we did accomplish a lot on the way over there, and that's what makes you really feel good. It surprises me we here in America underappreciate what we got. When we get there, one of the first things, and they usually have me on the agenda at the first speaker, because those folks want to know if we have enough. We got more than what we can utilize, but they're concerned if we have enough. Now, once we get by the enough, they want to know how the growing season. They're just on the opposite side of the equation and thinking about we're trying to grow it and plan it and watch the weather to see how that's accomplishing. Well, when they're concerned whether we have enough, it's the same, very interested. And they want to know what our weather's like, how our planning process, and very interested in our machinery, particularly in the Asian countries where we visited. They don't have the land mass that we do. So it's interesting for them to watch our machinery work. And usually in a PowerPoint there, we have pictures of different things and key on our sustainability, which is a big issue, particularly in Europe, but even on into the Asian countries. Very personable. They're very interested in human interaction.
Very interesting. Well, we're going to hear more about their trip to both Seoul as well as Bangkok. But Matt, before we do, let's talk about some of the other audio we have coming up in the podcast.
Well, Dale Everman with Homan Inc. is a real fan of talking about manure. So we've got Dale talking about manure, which is always a highlight. I also talked with Dave Cornish. He's with RES Auction, and he has a really interesting look at the farm equipment market, the used farm equipment market in particular. And the lack of new production is driving a lot of interest and extremely high values for used equipment. So Dave takes a look at that and has a little advice about folks interested in either buying or selling some of that used farm machinery. In addition to that, I talked with Brandon Kern with Ohio Farm Bureau last week. The state budget debate is going on right now, and the Senate came out with some changes that are not necessarily being appreciated by a lot of folks in agriculture, with cuts to the proposed H2 Ohio amounts as that program is set to roll out statewide, and that's a big concern. In addition to that, they and the Senate are looking at residential property values and trying to adjust for some of the increases folks are seeing. But by doing that, they may inadvertently be putting a larger tax burden on agricultural landowners as part of the tax base. So they're really taking a look at that issue too. So some really big issues for Ohio agriculture going on currently in the state budget debate in the Senate. So Brandon has some insights there. So lots of good stuff on that audio that's going to be coming up next.
Very good. And that will be coming out tomorrow in digital, Dale, and of course, OCJ.com, OhioAgNet.com, or anywhere you listen to your podcast. We're going to continue on with Bill and Maddie, but for now, thanks for joining us for the Ohio AgNet podcast. I'm Dusty Sonnenberg. For Matt Reese, Bill Bayliss, and Maddie Layman, you guys have a great day. We'll talk to you again soon.